So hello and welcome back. So today I'm going to talk about red flag number 5, which I call emotional seduction. And it's actually love bombing by a different name, if you will. Now, in the previous flag, I talked about, red flag number 4, I talked about how romantic predators can be very, very sexual, very sort of over the top and pushing you to get involved in a sexual relationship. The somatic, very, very much so, but there are different types of narcissistic personalities. And I also go into more details about those in my book. And some of them, such as the cerebral narcissist and very often vulnerable narcissists, don't really care for sex at all. You know, they will and can perform at a push, but it's not what drives their engine. So this is where the emotional seduction comes in. And even in the case of the somatic, you know, if the target is backing off and just not giving into those powerful sexual advances, they will very often move into this emotional seduction stage as well. They'll employ this tactic in spades. So it's important to be aware of this. So narcissists are adept at listening to and reading people and mirroring, and they very quickly create a powerful bond between the two of you. So when you're talking to them, they may seem utterly captivated by everything you say, if they're a certain type, and they'll ask lots and lots of questions, often actually way too many questions, and that is another red flag. That's red flag number 8, and I'll be covering that, of course, in this series. But you're thinking, as you're hearing all these questions, you're thinking, wow, you know, we have so much in common. They're like me, and they like me, and they get me. And the more you talk, the more synchronicity there seems to be. And, you know, you're thinking, wow, this is amazing. It's unbelievable. It's fantastic. Except it's not. It's all fake. Now, if you've seen all the previous videos I've done, and particularly the one on love bombing, you might remember that I talked about cognitive empathy, and that's really what's going on here. They're creating this fake bond with you that makes you feel really close to them because, you know, at this point, you guys just seem to be singing from the same hymn sheet, so to speak. I can give you a little example of kind of how this might look. I have a woman in my women's group in Facebook, and in the book I actually share the full example, and it's a really good example of how trusting a person can you know can draw you in very quickly, and how this guy used this type of cognitive empathy to build this quick bond with the woman. Now, she'd actually separated from her cheating narcissist husband when she met this new guy, and she said, he actually made me feel, you know, really good about myself. She then went on to say that she'd been honest with him from the start and noted that he'd also come out of a long-term relationship, so straight away they had this in common, and they just hit it off right from the start because they had so much in common, and he had been exactly where she was at. And she said, it was like looking in a mirror reflection of what I was going through. So this is what they do. But when you understand narc territory, it's very, very easy to see the red flags here. Now, if that guy had just made this woman feel good about herself, that would have been okay. But she then allowed herself to be too honest with a stranger. Then she just believed everything he said, and the emotional bond was created. Within a few weeks, though, however, within a few weeks, she realized that he was prone to rage outbursts if she asked about certain things, and then he began his very subtle controlling tactics. tactics, trying to dictate to her what he wanted her to do, but saying it in a way that was kind of like, oh, I'm not pushing you to do that, it's just kind of just a suggestion. So I'm pretty sure this guy was a vulnerable narcissist, because that and other things she shared with me had all the hallmarks of him being a vulnerable narcissist, or a victim narcissist, as they're also known as. So fortunately at this point, because the woman had already been in a previous narcissistic marriage, and she knew all the horrors that went with that, she knew she didn't want to be involved with another abusive partner, and she broke off this relationship. Good for her that she actually had the presence of mind to do that and not become trapped again. So the point is that, you need to keep your radar up, and just don't go sharing your deepest personal secrets with strangers. And as I've said, in a previous flag, don't just believe everything they tell you. Don't take it all at, yeah, this is true, wow, he's so like me, or she's so like me, she totally gets me, she's on my wavelength. Acknowledge to yourself that it seems that way, but keep that cynical guard up. Yeah, it seems to be, but is this too good to be true? Could this all be a facade? Could this person be a narcissist? So with that in mind, take your time and get to know the person slowly, but always be suspicious if everything seems to be too good to be true, because usually it is. So what you can do as well in this situation is, call time out in your head, and just say stop. Ask yourself, is this for real? What are the chances? Because, maybe it is amazing and unbelievable that there is so much synchronicity here. So when you know what's really going on behind the scenes, or rather underneath this fake persona, this facade of this narcissist, all this fantastic synchronicity suddenly just evaporates, because there is none. And when that mask slips off, what you'll witness is very, very ugly indeed, and you're going to pay the price for causing it to slip, because of course you're not perfect. None of us is perfect. You're just a normal human being. God love you. And when ugly reality shows up, it's going to turn your world horribly upside down. So just don't let it happen. Know the signs. I can't say it enough. Know the red flags and trust your gut. And I'm actually, just before I wrap up, I'm happy to say that the woman whose example I just shared, she realized within a month that she was dealing with a narcissist, and she, in her own words, bumped his sorry ass instantly. And I was delighted to hear it. So knowing those flags, knowing what to look for, can absolutely save you from disaster. Okay, so that's it for today's red flag, and I'll be back again soon with more. Thank you very much for joining me. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you found that flag useful to know about. So my name's Maria McMahon. I'm a clinical NLP hypnotherapist, and I help women and men who are trying to overcome narcissistic abuse. I have 2 Facebook groups. One is for guys, it's a private group, guys only. One is for women, also private group, women only. So what I'll do is I'll put a link below the video, some links about how you'd like, if you wanted to connect with me, how you'll be able to connect with me. I'll also put a link to the book, which is currently on Amazon for just 99 cents, so it's pretty cheap. Now, if you found this video helpful, please like and comment and subscribe, and come back soon for more red flags, because every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday I'll be posting until I get through all the 50. Okay, so thank you very much again, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.